So I will start with this chart, and I just zoomed out for now so we can have a look, and you can see the two trend lines here that are dominant, and this is on the daily, and then this is the previous bottom, bear market bottom. Here's the high of $1.97, and you can see the support line here again, resistance line here. You can see we're right in the pocket here, yeah. So one of the reasons why I'm zooming out is to have a look at the consolidation patterns, just to get an idea of where we are. Yeah. So look, you got it come up and hit a peak, it dropped down here, and it reset a level, came down and did a lower low, a higher high, came down and did a couple of lows, and this range here seems to be where we are now. Is that we've this excuse me, this wick here seems to be this wick here. Actually, we get a lift and a drop, a lift and a drop, so we seem to be, well, it's hard to say, maybe we're here. Anyway, let me look at that in more detail in a moment. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you can see the pattern here is that price action in the started to consolidate on the lower support level here with the point of control up high, and it ended up that way. So the final phase of this consolidation, you can see it was coming lower, yeah. Where in this consolidation here, if we look at the pattern, again, after the drop comes up, sets a level, there's a lower low, higher high, and the same as this. Look, we get a couple of lows, we get a drop and then a lower drop, but not a lower low. We get a drop, another drop, but not a lower low. But then on this one is it lifts back up, but it stays within the bottom range here, where on this one is price action has come up. Price action has come up above the point of control, and we're up at a higher volume resistance here, yeah. So you can see it's broken the point of control, bouncing along it. We got a touch back to this support line here, and again we're in this space here, yeah. So we've got to look at really what's going on here, yeah. Just pattern wise, yeah. So as I was saying, is the tendency at the moment is price action is high in this consolidation pattern. Price action is high. This is going to break out soon, and price action is high in the consolidation range rather than low. Now, whether that means anything or not it's just something to notice, yeah. Equally is when we zoom in with this lift here, you can see this final phase here. With this lift here, we had a fuller correction, and then we come up, we had a double top, another correction, a 0.5 and a spill. Okay, so that was that case. But now here, this is where I was getting a little confused a moment ago, is we're here, look, we've had our lift, and we haven't had that fuller correction. You can see here that was a nice 786 correction, yeah. Excuse me. Where here, as it stands, this correction hasn't even touched the 0.5. It's bouncing off the 382, yeah. So now we're not getting this correction at the moment. and we've got a touch here. So when we zoom in, what we're missing here, and what we may not be getting, is a fuller correction. And a 786 here would nearly take us down to this lower volume support range here on the consolidation pattern. Yeah. So you can see it's holding high. We're bouncing into this pocket. Yeah. So even when we zoom in on the 4 hour, excuse me, on the 4 hour is in this lift here, is we've had a golden pocket, a 618 correction. So you can see that the corrections as we get tighter and tighter in here are getting shallow. We're not coming down for the 786s. So they're staying high. They're staying high. So when we zoom in and we just look at this, just this section here as a triangle in itself. Yeah, we get the drop, we get the lift. Okay, we're into a triangle. We've got one touch to the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again you would think potentially heading for 6. Get our touch down here and get our correction. Get our correction of this lift. Yeah. At the moment that hasn't happened. Now this lift here, this looks like the correction is complete, and I'll tell you why. Because you've got the A, the B up here, and then the C is, you can look at the level. Put it here, it's probably spot on. As you can see the level here, so A, B, C correction. It looks like this correction's already done. So when I just look at the pattern here, is the tendency, and again you can see it's above the point of control. So the tendency is price action has been staying high in the consolidation pattern, coming to the end of it. Is it's above the point of control, and it's above this support line, and this support line is holding. Yeah. If I put an arc on it and put a triangle on it, it will be like this. Okay, so again, this is skyline. Third spike is down here. Double top, first drop, mountain peak, second drop, third drop will be down here, final peak, and again possibly final bounce. If it doesn't want to go deeper into these corrections, this could be final bounce, final retrace, and then again we have our decision pretty soon. But you can see how much space we're moving into here. Yeah, so it's getting tighter and tighter. So we put this back on the daily. If we put this back on the daily, is today's the 20th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it looks like we could be floating around here for another week. Could be breaking out today, but you can see we're getting tighter and tighter. Yeah. So one of the things I was potentially looking at, I'm not sure about this, but if we're looking at this pattern here, is we get the lift, we get the drop. We don't really have the drop here. That's the problem. But if I zoom in on a smaller time frame and we go, look, let's say this is the bottom, doesn't give us a deeper correction, and it potentially wants to do the same pattern, but from here is we could have price action go up to the high volume resistance here, up around 43 or so, and we could find ourselves working up like this, yeah. Essentially following this type of pattern here, yeah. And I'm mindful is that's what happened with this big wick here, is we got this gradual lift up, yeah. And this could take us out of the resistance line here and give us our back test and our move on up, and we could get that continual lift up. So potentially if it doesn't just go boom and begin to pump, is potentially that's it, yeah. So now when I put some fibs on it, you can see my tendency there was more for the lift, yeah. There's definitely mixed signals going on with regards to EMAs, yeah. But there's a lot of support as well. So if you look at, here's the point of control, you can see that on the daily here, the white 20 EMA was coming down to cross the 55, and again it stopped and they're both going sideways here, and again floating along the 50 SMA, the green one here, yeah. But you can see the 50 MA here is coming up for support here. So you can see that it wicked through and it came back for support here. This red one here is the 20 MA, and this pinky red one I believe is the 20 or the 200 EMA. So you can see that there's still quite a bit of resistance on the 200s, and equally on there's a lot of support as well. So it's just it's a real it's a cliffhanger. If you look at the 200 here, is price actually gets above, bit of support, gets below, it's resistance. So excuse me, it looks like again if price action starts to get above the 200 MA here again, and the 50 is coming up here, is we could over the next bunch of days, remember I was talking about this gradual lift, here. I was talking about this gradual lift. And this gradual lift would take the 50 here and eventually have the 50 cross over the 200 here. 50 MA crossing over the 200. And again, that would trigger a pump as well, yeah. So that could be the case. We got to see, yeah. So let's go have a look at the weekly. Now I'm going to switch to Bitstamp because on Bybit it doesn't show all the MAs. It doesn't have the same history length. Okay, so you can see on the weekly is you can see now a little bit of a different story going on. With regards, you can see price action, the range, the support and resistance that price action is playing within here, yeah. So let me just check these. This yellow one here, this is a 300 SMA, and this green one here is the 400 SMA. So you can see those as support, clear lines of support here. Clear lines of resistance here are what's this here? It's the EMA, 377 EMA, and then let's say the 200 SMA, focus on the 200 SMA. You can see the 200 SMA has been solid resistance here. So again, price action is still below the 200 SMA here, and that is at 40, 37, 40, 40. So that would fit in with the breakout of that triangle. Yeah. Now, one of the things to note is you can see here on the weekly, this is a 50 MA, this is the 200 MA, and this is a debt cross on the weekly. So since this debt cross came on the weekly, it hasn't triggered any drop. There hasn't been any drop. However, price action is going to have to come up and get past this 50 at 44.13. Yeah. Excuse me. So another week and it will be level with this. Okay, another week and it will be level with this. So remember what I said here. Remember what I said about this white one, by the way, is the 20 EMA, and you can see it's resistance at the moment. Yeah. So let me show you. Remember this 50 here on the weekly. So now when we go back to the daily, remember what I said about potentially price action here is doing this potential gradual lift up. Yeah. So now if it did this, if you look at the weekly, you can see that in a week's time or so, yeah, next week, is this 50 will be down another level, and it will be level with this top. It'll be level with 43. So we could get another week of a drawn out lift, where we're getting this sideways lift up and down, and that while we break out of the while we break out of the triangle here, we break out of this resistance level here, we get this drawn out gradual. You can sort of see it potentially playing out here is and this is I'm mindful of this to just break out and just go, yeah. But we could get this move here, yeah, where we're getting touches, we're getting the bounce, we're getting the lift, we're getting the bounce, and we find ourselves back up at this high volume resistance level, doing a double top here, and on the weekly the 50 MA is coming down, and potentially the 50 MA could be where that debt cross eventually triggers and it gets to spill, it dumps, yeah. It could be that. It could be that. But there is no doubt that in the consolidation pattern is high in its range here, and it's getting solid support from the point of control, yeah. So breaking above 40.50, and I think the next level after that is breaking this high here at 43.33 or so. I don't think the breakout proper can be confirmed until we get a clear breakout above 43.30. Yeah. We could still have a lot of play and movement in this zone before we get a real clear sign of it. Yeah. And even then, what we want to see is a break above the volume resistance here, a back test, and then a pump up. So it could even be, it could even be those series of steps where you get this slow gradual lift. We get a pushback for a back test. You get a break. You get a break up. You get another back test. And again, this is the volatility of breaking out here, and these ranges start to get tested as we go along. Yeah. So again, that's one of the things I'm watching for. I just think it needs a lot of patience because it's just gone very quiet. It's all getting drawn out. But we got to see what's going to happen. Yeah. So now this is where I was showing you this pattern here on the hourly, where when you get a lift like this, it's a minimum of a 20 to potentially a 40% drop. But again, it's got to hit up above. It's got to hit to the red line. Yeah. We did get the lift here, but we got just below the orange line, which is pretty high. It's a substantial lift. It doesn't get there as often. Very seldom gets to the red, once a month. But here it can get there more times, but it's still not regular, yeah. But you can see the lift. It looks like we have our ABC correction. So potentially this is where this whole pattern that's been playing out gets broken, and we get a proper pump, yeah. Now the last time in this pattern where we got the break up is, I was talking about this last week, where on this one here, yeah, on the daily, the VWAP on the daily on this pattern on the daily was up, and the 2-day was up, and that's why this went on for so long, yeah. And eventually it did a 786 and pumped. Okay. Where on this one, when we got up here, the VWAP on the daily and the 2-day was up. But again, this is breaking patterns here, where even though the 2-day VWAP was up, it still did a drop down, and it still went sideways. But as much as it dropped and went level, it still sort of held the level for those number of days. And that previous one was 5 days. This one was the 15th. 15th to the 19th, the 20th there. So again, 5 days as well. So this was 5 days before it dropped. Again, this did a 786. You can see that on the hourly, the 50 EMA crossed the 200 EMA, bottomed here, corrected, and then it decided to start going up. Yeah. On this one here, again, 5 days. Played out a little differently. It did a 1, 2, 3, an ABC, and again you can see it came down to the golden pocket so far, and the 50 didn't cross over the 200. You can see the 50 is resisting crossing over the 200, yeah, here. So potentially, maybe this is where the pattern breaks, and we have a proper breakout. Okay, and the one I was showing you about where I went on for 2 days previously was here, and again that was the pump on this big arc. That was the pump for Mountain Peak, yeah. Where here we're coming to the end of this consolidation cycle. We're coming to the end of this triangle, and we got to see where this wants to go. Yeah. So yeah. Now, when I have a look at this here, so let me put this on the 4-hour. Yeah. I know this might seem confusing. I'll zoom out again for this one, yeah, just to explain to you a little bit. Okay, so you can see here on So now look at this white line here, yeah. So that's the center line, and you can see the yellow to yellow, orange, and then red. So this is the previous bear market, and this is the peak, yeah. So you can see the range that the price action is moving in, yeah. So the center line is this white line, okay. And as we move into the zone, you can see that price action. This white line here is the center line. Price action is below this. As much as we're in this consolidation and it's staying high in the consolidation, it's still below this center line. So price action is below this center line here, yeah. So we need to see a break again, 40.95, 41, yeah. Now equally, so you can see this space here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it here, because you can see there's the zone it's playing within at the moment. It's in this here, yeah. So now you have ascending channels as well. So here, and I'll show you the center line first. So here's the center line of the ascending channels, and again, as I move it out, look, you can see it's coming to the yellow. So you can see this zone that price action is ascending in, and we're back in it again here, okay. And again, when you zoom it out, look, you're taking in the orange levels and then the red levels, okay. And again, you can see when we break past all these levels here, is we really are starting to head into all-time high ranges, yeah. But right now is we want to zoom in and look at where we are. Look at where we are within this ascending channel. Here's the center line. Here's the center line here, and price action is below the center line at the moment. So we need to see price action also break 91, but we also need to see it break here at 46 or so to start to get us into these this yellow zone here, yeah. So you can see the levels that we need to break: 41, 46, 51, 61, again 64. So you can see the way the levels, and you can see the way price action is moving up and down these channels. So you can see that if we're going to break up, these are the areas we need to look for, yeah. And then you can also see this one here, the descending channel. Now I've just put this in blue and white, and I haven't stretched that out because once this channel gets broken, we move on from it. It's not relevant anymore, because once price action moves on, breaks out and heads on up, it's probably not going to be relevant anymore, yeah. But you can see the point I'm still making here is that we haven't left. If you look at where the three areas converge, we haven't left this zone. So once we've come into this space, so you can see this space here. Okay, we haven't left it. So you can see where they're all converging here. So there are levels we need to see getting broken proper. Is again back to that 41.3 to really break out is, and really get going, we need to see 46 getting broken. And again, break it, back test, break it, back test, and really get going when we start really breaking above the 50. Yeah, as you can see, we're heading on up. Yeah, if we're going to break down, is coming down and testing this support level here at 34.6 or so. Yeah, breaking this level, breaking below 33. We start breaking below there, dropping to 28.60 or so, back test, pushing on down to 26 or so, again a little back test, and then continuing on down as well. And we find ourselves continuing down this channel here. Yeah, so this is the whole bear market channel that we're heading down here. Yeah, so you can see the crux of where we are. Yeah, we are in the zone where all three ascending, descending, and horizontal channels are meeting. So let me just put in some levels here. Yeah. I'm just going to mark them. You'll see the levels here, yeah, just to watch over the coming days and weeks. And again, we could just have a pump, and this goes, and all these, whatever direction it goes, it just pumps, and we have a clear breakout, yeah. Or it still might decide to drag itself out a little bit, yeah. So to me, it seems to be the range. We've a couple of ranges to play here. Is we are in this level. Okay, so there's this essential range that we're playing in. We get the breakout and above. Okay, it's a good sign. We're heading on. We really need to get above this white line. So we've got this range. We need to break out of this range first. We really need to get above this one. Equally, if we're heading down, we're playing in this range. We need to get below these yellow lines. Okay, and as soon as we get below these yellow lines, again, then we're moving on. But realistically, we could look. Here's the lowest point of the market at the moment, 28.60. To really break below, we need to get below this orange line. So if you look at this here, is these are the two essential levels. Let me put this here as well. Let me put this here. Potentially, just make these a little clearer. We could have a breakout, volume kicks in, and all this gets blasted through. But we'll see the ranges we're looking for, yeah. Or else price action decides to drag things out. The market decides to drag things out a little longer, and we can get in this sideways. And again, you'll see these ranges getting played out. Yeah. So okay, so that's what I'm looking at, is to see a real breakout of movement. Is getting above 46 is a very good sign for bear market's over and the bull market's going to come in. We'll still be moving up in waves, up and down. If this is the bottom, we still are going to have this bear market over isn't an immediate pump. So we were still going to have we're still, and I'm guesstimating this. I'm just giving you the pattern. Yeah, we're still going to have this. We're still going to have this all dragged out, and you can see here. Is I am probably being a bit generous. I think it's going to take longer. If the bear market is over, we could be here until the summer, going sideways, doing gradual lifts, before we really start to break above this red line, breaking above $1.33 or so. Yeah, excuse me. We could have another 6 months of this, like this. Yeah. If it breaks down, and we come down here, we'll have the same pattern. If we come down here, we'll still have the same pattern where we have that, and we got to come out of it. But it will take, that'll take us to the end of the year. So regardless, again, the macro situation, the economy is questionable what's going to happen this year and next year. But if you just look at the general pattern of crypto, is one more bottom, is we're going to drag on for the guts of it the rest of this year before we really start to move. If this is the bottom and we have our lift here, is we're probably looking at sometime in the summer before we start getting a pump. But either way it's coming soon. Yeah. So 6 months or 9 months, 9-10 months seems to be the timeline for when price action starts to break, well, XRP starts to break the dollar, and really begin to get its skates on. Yeah. Notwithstanding what's going on in the micro market or the macro market. Okay, so so now when we zoom in, actually here's the thought for you. Just with regards to those channels we were looking at, yeah. Having a breakout of this, you see this red channel here? 1, 2, 3. Again, this would indicate where we need to come down for 4, yeah. But the top of this here, this breakout of this channel would be 61.67. Is the breakout of the bigger channel, where we can see at the top here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The breakout of this bigger channel is we're back up at 90 cent or so. Yeah. So you can see the stages that we will be kicking on here. But you can see there's a smaller channel in here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the breakout of this channel, this descending channel. Pop that there. Put that there. Oh. There's 44, 40 or so, yeah. So that would be that range where I'm saying pops up to 46, but really needs to break above 46. Yeah. So again, also potentially that double top there at 43. So yeah, so they're the lifts. You can see I'm leaning more heavily on the lift at the moment. Let's have a look at the downside. Okay. So the downside is the weekly turned. The weekly MA is turned, yeah, and the weekly MA is turned, and you can see on the weekly is the 20 on the weekly is coming down pretty strong here, yeah. Do you know what? I'm gonna shift this to Bybit, because Bybit shows us more, or Bitstamp, sorry. Bitstamp shows us more of what's going on here. Is on the weekly, remember the 50 across the 200? The 20 is properly spilling down here, yeah. So on the weekly, this is really strong at the 20, and then the 5 is after taking a turn. You can see the 5 MA is after taking a turn down as well, yeah. And the white one is the 20 EMA. Now the VWAP, the VWAP was down, and now it's up. And you can see price action today has come down and wicked to the 10 MA. So the lift on the 10 is pretty strong here. But look, you can see it's meeting this resistance. So the volatility is I will be really, really surprised if the 10 is strong enough to push through all these guys without these guys pushing back down. So it's hard to imagine that these guys aren't going to push this back down, and potentially we get the full correction of this move down to the here's the, you see the Bollinger down here, here's the 786, and again the low volume support level, yeah, is, and this is my supporting the down, is you can see the push down here and breaking through the 10 here, and then also this green one is, I think it's the 400. I think this green one is the 400 MA. Yes, the 400 MA, yeah. But you can see that you can see the battle going on, yeah. Plus we've got this 50 coming down. So a real battle here. This looks really dumpy. Like this looks really, really strong. If I was looking at this on any timeline, I'd be saying, yeah, this 10 is going to break and we're going to get a spill, yeah. So one of the things that's going on is that you can see you can see the Bollinger here. So you can see for 1, 2, 3 weeks it was lifting, and from this pump here tested the Bollinger, came back down to the medial line, the center line of the Bollinger, found support, pushed through, got a lift back up, and again today pushed down again, didn't exactly hit the medial but hit the 10, and now it's back up on the 20s. It's hard to imagine that this medial line isn't going to get attacked again. But if it holds support, again, it's a strong indication of a pump. It's a strong indication of a pump, yeah. But it's hard to imagine there isn't going to be a strong pushback and get that push down, yeah. And we could end up getting that bigger correction, yeah. So we got to see. We got to see what it wants to do. Now, if this is the bottom, we could be in for where is it? If this is the bottom here, we could be in for 1, 2, and then now we have our pump 3, yeah. And if that was the case, is you put the fibs, generally you put the fibs on like this, from here to here, for wave 3, yeah. Just at this bottom here. I'll make sure I have it right. Just as a general target. And we'd look for a range, a lift of 1618, there's 82, and potentially impulsively moving all the way up to 2272 at $1.23. Yeah. So we could be getting that wave 3, yeah. Wave 3, 4, and then 5. So that could be it. If this is the breakout, well then this would make this a 1, 2, and then on we go. If this is going to break up, yeah. But you can see on the weekly, you can see that the pressure down on the weekly is pretty strong, yeah. Now I pointed this out previously as well, is while the VWAP on the monthly is up, this is the monthly, the 5 and 10 MAs on the monthly are down, and this month the 5 took a sharp turn down. Now there's nothing to stop it coming to the end of this month and both taking a sharp turn up, because it is the 20th of the month, these two are down, and look how little price action has, how much has affected price action. Hasn't really pushed it down that much. So we get to the end of the month. Remember we were talking about the double top here. If price action can hold itself here, these two could flip, and that's where we get the bump at the end of this month. So that's why I'm saying we could get that gradual sideways lift for between now and the end of the month, potentially. But that's the monthly. Now now here's the 2 month. I'll show you why I'm showing you this. Is this turned February as well. So look, the 5 is down and the VWAP is down. And then when I look at the 3 month, is the 3 months going to turn? And again, the 5 is going to come down strong here, and the VWAP is down, yeah. I'm just showing this for a reason. This is the 6 month, and the VWAP is down. 10 is looking a bit sideways, yeah. So, but you can see the 10 here is price action is lifted, it's below the 10 here again. But my point is that the VWAP is down. And equally, on the 12 month, you might go, geez, why are you going all the way up to the 12 month? Is because the VWAP is down. The VWAP for the 12 month is down. So look, there's last year, there's this year. I just don't see how the VWAP is going to get flipped when it's coming down at such an angle. How's the VWAP going to get flipped? It's a bit like this angle here, and it comes up like this. Is the VWAP is it's not going to get flipped. So you can see on the yearly is the VWAP is solidly down. I could be wrong on that. But the turn of the year, the VWAP was down across all the months. So you can see now as well that price action has wicked up to the 10 on the yearly. There's a bit of a rejection. It's back below the 5 on the yearly. Yeah. So these things are I know they're longer term, but you can see the relevance of how they're still playing out. Yeah. So when I look at the weekly, and I look at the support it has, but then I look at the resistance, and I look at what's coming down, it's hard to imagine that all that pressure coming down is just going to get blasted through. I could be wrong. So you can see now that I did start off bullish because I really can see the bullish pattern playing out here. I can really start to see it lift. However, I know there's also a bearish. The bears long term with the as the pattern stands have a lot coming down as well. Yeah. Okay. So now when I look at the stock, here's the daily stock, top left. So you can see it's done quite a bit of a lift. Quite a bit of a lift here. This is the stock RSI, and then this one down here is the RSI. Yeah. So still the RSI here hasn't bottomed out. It is potentially I'm looking at a pattern like this where it came down, it did a lift up, excuse me, and then potentially finds its way down to the bottom here. So there's still a chance that this daily RSI is going to come down here. Yeah. You see the second one here on the left is the 2-day RSI is up. RSI is up. The 3-day the stock is down. 4-day the stock is down. The 5, the 6-day the stock is down, and then the weekly. Again, you see the 6 and the weekly is their turn down. There's absolutely, these could continue on up. We get the break up, and there's nothing to say that the weekly just can't continue as well, and we get that break up. So the weekly doesn't have to come down just yet. It doesn't have to turn. This did move up pretty fast over the last couple of weeks. And then equally here is the monthly. and again it's bottomed out. Potentially it could be looking at a bit of a turn down here, or you know yourself, it could turn up. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that the daily stock is gone back to the top pretty fast. Is the 2-day has bottom, is taking a lift. The rest 3, 4, 5, 6, and the weekly as it stands, they're all turned down. Yeah. Now this is where it gets a bit more challenging. Is on the 1 hour, top right is back at the top here. Bottom left is the 2 hour. Again, it's heading back up. 3 hours catching the breather from the bottom, and it's already done it a couple of times. So there's a good chance the 3 hour will want to continue up. And the 4 hour is still pushing down at the moment. Yeah. You can see the 6 hour is taking a little turn up here, but close to the bottom. The 8 hour still pushing down at the moment. 9, 10. So you can see those time frames. The stock on them are bottomed out or bottoming out. But the 12 hour hasn't really started to. It come back in from overbought, but hasn't really started to push proper to come down. Yeah. So again, very difficult at the moment to read what these are doing. Yeah. So now I'm going to finish up now. Let me just put this back on to Bybit. Let me have a little zoom in. So you can see on the daily here, again looking at the lift, actually there's the 10, look at the 10 and the 50. My apologies, I didn't point this out earlier on. It's not just the 50 with great support here, the 10 is coming under for great support. So the daily has a lot of support for a lift. But you can see on the weekly is battling with resistance. And then equally the 20 here and the 5 is turned down and the 20, so you can see a lot of a battle going on here. From the point of view of trade, I'm out of a trade at the moment. This is going to be volatile. I'm just going to sit and watch for now. And I really want to see what way this begins to move. Yeah, I really want to see what way this begins to move. Is the weekly? Show you now. Is the weekly going to assert itself and start to push? Which one of these is going to begin to dominate? Because we're at that point where, look, here's this resistance and support on the weekly. Which one of these is going to start to dominate? Which is the resistance or the support? One of them is going to have to start dominating pretty soon. Yeah. On the daily, it's the same thing. Is the 20 and the 5 and the 20 EMA going to dominate in resistance, or is the 5 and the 50 and the 100 here going to dominate as support, and the 200 on top? Yeah. So there's a battle going on. I'm going to sit out until one of these shows which direction they're going to dominate. And then the question is it going to be a gradual lift? So if I start to see a break in one direction, if it's a gradual lift, again, I look for a swing and catch it for a long or a short. If it's much more, so it's something like this, if it's more gradual, again, I look for a swing for a long. Equally the same here. If I start to see a break to 50, you get a back test, I will look for a short here to look to catch that swing down. Yeah. So that's that. I'm just gonna watch for that. Yeah. On the 4 hour I'll actually show you on this here. Yeah. I'm gonna put it on the 4 hour. Yeah. So on the 4 hour. One of the things I'll be looking for on the 4 hour time frame is the same thing. Is if it's getting that gradual lift, there's a back test, I'll be looking for a long here to follow it up. Now whether it's a pump and it goes with volume or it's gradual, I'll look for that. Yeah. If it's going to start to head down, again, this one down is a little bit trickier, to be honest, because we still have, as much as this is an ABC correction, and this is why it's harder for me to see it going down. Yeah, unless that this lift has done its correction, we're getting a lift back up here, and that we're coming down for this bigger correction. We're coming down for this bigger correction, heading down here for a 3150 or so. Yeah, and potentially we could be looking at this price action topping out somewhere here, and then starting to head down, and we end up getting our 786 correction here. If we eventually get our 786 correction on this lift, it will come back and probably do a 0.5 or something. If I see a 0.5 here, so I'll show you now. Get rid of that one. So on this lift here, yeah, if I see it come down, if price action does, remember the weeklies could push this down, and we could end up getting the 786 correction, another bounce off this line. Yeah, if I see it come back up and do around a 0.5 correction and start to do a reversal, I will look for a short here, and my target will be the 786 of this correction here. Yeah. Now on this swing, it would take us down to 272 at 3142. So you see this swing here from top to bottom is the impulse breakdown is the 272, which is 3144. If I put it on as a swing here and a correction to the 786, it brings us down to 3166. So they match each other, but it just depends on whether, if price action actually comes down, if this swing eventually comes down and actually hits the 786 target, then it's given an indication that, look, it's done this correction and maybe it wants to continue down. Yeah, it could also be very volatile. The way the MAs are at the moment, it could be very volatile, and it all just snaps and all happens very fast. But then we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that as it happens. If it all happens very fast, let's say you get a snap down like this or something. Let's say it just tore down here in a couple of hours. Yeah, it would still give it 786 here. It'll come back up and do a 0.5, and then it will do something like this. And again, if it did that and didn't have time to catch in, it'll still do a correction here. I will look for my short here, and then in it goes. Equally, the same thing is if it wants to snap up to here, is get it again back to a correction here somewhere. It'll do a reversal or a retrace, and then it'll pump up, and again I'll look for my entry here. Yeah, so either way it's going to offer it. It's just a matter of, is it gradual or is it going to be a volume move? Yeah, because we're in this space where we're getting closer and closer to it. It may drag on till the end of the month. So it just needs to be patient. So that's it. I know I've talked a lot today, but you can see why I've talked it through. Is we just got to see how it's going to play out. Yeah. So that's it. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm not going to offer a trade position at the moment, because I need to see how things play out a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, there you go. I'm just watching this one, looking at the stock here on the hour, top out, the 2 hour. It's not topping out, but it's got a bit of a breath. Could be one of those things where we see you get the lift, hour catches a breather, moves on up again, you start getting lifts like that, yeah. So if that happens, if we get a drop down here, actually there you go. Look, if we get this stock turning and taking a dip, and price action starts to come back down here again, and the hour, the RSI and the hour starts to come down and get exhausted again, I think that might be a good opportunity. It might be a good opportunity for a long. So looking at this position here, rather than a 786 here, it may just come down to do a 0.5, and again on the hour bouncing off to 200. So if the 1 hour starts to come back down here again and the stock starts to get exhausted down here, I think that's a good indication that it could be worth a long position. So I'll be watching for that, yeah. However, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's the last thing I'm going to say is, look, price action today so far on the weekly has come down and hit, and this is in Bybit. So the weekly, it has come down and hit to 10, and the medial line, it's got a strong pushback. Now it's testing the 20 EMA, the white one, the 5 MA, and the 20 MA. Now, and I don't see it breaking through these without it having its own pushback. Again, you see the VWAP was down, now it's up at the moment, yeah. So we got to see. Maybe this is strong enough. We get a little pushback to the point of control here. See the points of control here, and again they're at 38.70. Let's go back to the hour, or the hour. Okay, there we go. Point of control was. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. Does it come up onto the chart? Bear with me for a second. No, it's not going to show it on this chart. Okay. So point of control was around 38, I think 38.70, 38.50. So that would fit in with potentially price action coming back to a 0.5 on of this lift. Around the 200 level and the VWAP. So again, if we start to see the RSI get tired here again on the 1 hour, this could be an opportunity for an entry on the hourly. Yeah, I am mindful that this is testing on the weekly. It's testing some strong MA, so there's going to be a lot of volatility. It could be worth just staying out. It could be just worth staying out and letting this reveal itself a little bit more, letting this whole space reveal itself a little bit more, because it is going to be volatile. So maybe wait until one shows its dominance and shows its direction, and let it have a little bit of a direction, and then on the back test that's the sensible place to hop in. Yeah, that would probably be the most sensible thing to do. So let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, things could move very fast over the next couple of days. All right, so now that's me.